All right. Hi, everybody. Here we go. Embodying, elevating, and evolving your being. That's what I call the becoming. So you've probably seen the little mini book, flip page booklet things I've been doing, which I've been having fun with on the becoming and the grand becoming. I just put them in the event page if you want to have a look at them. They're quick browse throughs. It's not like a book where you have to read a whole bunch of stuff. It's little snippets of things. So fun. So I realized, oh, I guess it must have been in the last 2 weeks, maybe, that all the work that Centaur and I pretty much have ever done since we met in 1996, so that's what, 27 years now, has been about the evolution of being and the embodiment of being. And well, I kind of talked about it a little bit that way, especially in our Maestros group. I hadn't really ever focused the work on it, even though that's pretty much what I do. So I've done breakthroughs in genius and transformation and coaching and, consciousness and quantum creation and all that stuff. But now this is kind of like, oh, this is what it was all about in the whole thing anyway. So here we go. We're going to explore it. Hi, Karen, by the way. Hi, Julie. Welcome. So I want to kind of explain it like this. I think most of you would know about these things, but I'm just going to explain it like this. So we have our human self, our human being, which is made up of, our persona, our history, our genetics, our physical body, our life force energy, our, the being that's in our body, et cetera, et cetera. But our being, which gives us our life force and our vitality, is so much more than all of that. Our being is something that's like vast. It could be eternal. It could be brand new. It has another level of intelligence. It has powers and mastery. It has learning and wisdom and experiences over the ages sometimes. It's the being is something much more than just the human being. So when I talk about the greater being or the infinite being or the source being, they're all interchangeable for me, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about that part of us that is more infinite. And one of the things that I've noticed over the years is that we tend to focus all the work we do on what's going on with the person rather than what's going on with the being. And if you change the focus from the person to the being, you get a whole different set of options of how you can work with something. So for example, I'm coaching a few people at the moment who are tired, lethargic, having a struggle, and so on the person view of that, you might go, oh, what are you clearing? What are you healing? What are your issues? You look at it almost from that perspective. But at the being level, you'd go, oh, what are you doing? Are you doing big work in the great beyond? Are you shifting into a new level of your being? Are you bringing something new through and it's taking a particular focus for you to do that? Do you see what I mean? You'd have a completely different set of options available for you to be empowered in the process rather than have to go through the normal human-centric things. That's just one example of it. And I've found over the years, if I apply everything to being, both in my own life and the people I work with and what's going on in the world, it's elevating, it's uplifting, it's exciting. And then it gives you options with power and mastery to be able to move things. So I would say as well that one of the things that I think generally in the world, most people would think is that that part of your being that is more infinite, more wise and powerful and all of that tends to be slightly separate from the human being and the body and the physicality. Like you'd go out to it. And the journey we've been on is about embodying it. So living in our beings and having that level of intelligence, enjoying learning about our superpowers, our uniqueness, our how we do things in an extraordinary way. So that's the journey that Centauri and I and a lot of my buddies, even some on this call I've been on, is that journey of embodying our beings. Then the third part to that is evolving your being, which can maybe in the world sound a bit radical to some people, but you know me, I'm always swinging out there with something new. So your being might be eternal. It might have been forever. It might have all these experiences, wisdom, learning, but we're at a stage here now on Earth where we can take those beings and evolve them into next levels of possibility for who they are and who we are and how we embody it and live it here. You see what I mean? So I call that shifts of being. So I'm going to just ask everybody, so how many of you have been through what I would call some levels of shifts of being in your life up until this point in your life? So just stick up your hand if you had. Yeah, almost everybody. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? And most people, when they go through shifts of being, that when you're going through it, you often don't know that's what you're doing. I think more and more we're learning to know that's what we're doing, but they often don't know because a lot of the shifts of being can occur as very tired, being unwell, having no energy, feeling lethargic. Even when I've been in a shift of being and I'm in the in-between stage, it's like I sigh a lot. I go, oh, what's it matter? Do you know what I mean? Whereas normally, like, I'm full of energy, I'm full of vision, I'm full of possibility. But in the midst of a shift of being, it's because one part of you goes out and another part of you comes in, and you're integrating and embedding and embodying something more of the possibility of you. And that process isn't just an individual process, it's a collective process that I think we're all the whole world is going through right now. And some of us have chosen to lead the way into that. So for some of us over the last 25 or more years have been going through this. And sometimes we've been kind of lone wolves out on the front lines, and sometimes we work collectively. But now is the time for this becoming to happen for everybody. And so I'm fascinated by getting it understood, giving it grace, giving it power, giving it joy, giving it, you know, as opposed to it being a hard process or an isolating process to go through. I want it to be a joy-filled, conscious, super fun process to go through to embody, elevate, and evolve your being. So there you go. That's my intro. I love it. So anybody want to ask any questions about that so far? Make sense? Okay. Okay, good. All right. So why do I want to do this? Well, I wrote down 4 reasons. And I kind of just said one of them. So to get the world to go through the process more consciously, more powerfully, more brilliantly, that's 1. 2, I want to launch a new level of my own work around it. 3, I want us to source together more collectively this becoming for all beings, that all beings come into the next levels of themselves, that the whole world, and I'm talking about all beings, including dogs and whales and, you know, trees and nature, and not just, you know, humans, but all beings. It's why with Jo, I love that she gives her dogs god names, Adonis and Pharaoh. That's Pharaoh that's Adonis rather you're looking at in the picture at the moment. So, and the last piece is to give the leaders of this, which is all of us, the conscious understanding to do it even more brilliantly, even more innovatively, even more powerfully, even more joyfully. So that's kind of why I want to do this. And so you can see where we go from here, right? Okay, so where should we start? All right. So the first thing I'm talking about is embodying your being. Okay, so let's just start first by all lining up together. So we'll just line up as our beings. Okay, and all together. So just I'll just say a few words about it, but do it in your own way, however you do that. Okay, so take a deep breath. Think of something you love. Let it joyfully fill you up. And then call your being fully present in the here and now. And then connect all of us together as those who are here to embody, elevate, and evolve beingness for everyone on the planet, including for ourselves, but also for all beings. Yeah. Yeah, feel the difference in that? That was lovely. You feel it's like everything went into sync together. That was beautiful. Yeah. Okay. How's that feel? Anybody want to share anything about how that felt for you?
I get all teary again.
I get a big smile on my face when we do that because it's so connected and joyful and together, you could say. I really love it. Yeah. Anybody else want to share what that felt like? Yeah, Kathy.
Yeah, I can relate to what you're saying. I feel as if everything becomes still and joyful, and I feel my third eye open up, and I get green and purple, and just like I'm part of everything. There's no separation.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. You notice how, and when we connected together, it changed the dynamics of the energy of us together. So we became more aligned. We became more of who we are. We became more connected. It's such a beautiful thing to experience. And there are many ways to experience it. That's just one, but that was just a beautiful way to experience it. Okay, so here are some tips to let's start with embodying your being. So the first thing I would say is ask yourself how much of your greater being, your infinite being, your source being, call it whatever you want, how much of your being is present in you now? Just get a percentage. Just let it just like roll.
80%.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Anybody else?
That's 70.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You'll get all different things at different times. Every time you ask, you probably get a different version of it because the beingness of you comes and goes. So if I'm doing something tremendously mundane, like cleaning the bathroom, yeah, I can mostly embody my being all the time now, But cleaning bathrooms is not one of my favorite things. So when I'm cleaning the bathroom, I would say there's less of my being present because it just doesn't have joy in it. Do you see what I mean? But if I stand in the sunshine, if I go up in the Glastonbury tour, I'm probably like 100% of my being is present. And when that being is present in your body, you have more energy, you have more ideas, you have more genius in yourself, you have more connection to everything. You have a greater vista of intelligence, not just the mind intelligence or even the intuitive sensing intelligence, the sensory intelligence, but a kind of infinite intelligence is available to you when you embody your being. Okay, now we're going to do an exercise. So one was call your being more present, right? The second one is witness somebody else's being. It's amazing how that'll get you to be your being. So I'm going to invite you right now to just pick a person on the call. You don't have to say who it is. And I want you to close your eyes, focus on that being, and see them in their full glory and magnificence as a being here on planet Earth. Okay? All right, here we go. You got the sense of it, right? Okay, so pick somebody and see what happens when you do it. Okay? Yep. And Kelly started to laugh. Me too. Do you feel how there's more of you present when you're witnessing someone else's being? It's amazing. It's got a synergistic happening. You see them in their glory and magnificence, and you become more of yours at the same time. It's an automatic thing that happens. It's very cool, isn't it? Does anybody want to share at all? You could, if you want to say who you got it for and what you got, if you want to. If you don't, it's okay. Anybody want to share? Yeah, Karen, go for it.
Yeah, I witnessed Lynn and just saw you as this magnificent, golden, amazing being. And I felt that myself as well. So that was my bonus.
Yeah, it's lovely. You've got sunshine all over your face at the moment. So you're like glowing, your golden glow yourself. It's amazing. Yeah, beautiful. Anybody else want to share anything? Yeah, Elaine.
I actually had two people pop into my mind, Marina and Val, and really saw them, each of them in their hugeness in such different ways. It was so beautiful. And as you say, the resonance is there for me. But earlier in the previous exercise, when I was bringing all of me in, my bigger self was kind of smiling and laughing and saying, well, there's not much room in there to get in. But as soon as we expanded to the group field, it was like, oh, yeah, I've got space now with everyone to be as big as I need to be.
Yeah. Marilyn, yeah, there she goes. She got it. So, okay. So, yeah, you brought up a good point. Our beings are huge, vast, amazing, powerful, super creative beings. And you wonder how you pack them in a body when they're really universal kind of things, you know? And so what I do is I call the being in, but then I let it flow itself through. So it becomes a field of me. So it's not just the body's not the only thing holding the being. It's the field of me that is expressing and allowing the being to create within and to contribute within. So if you find, oh, you were trying to do this, then you let it flow out. You expand and become a field of you rather than just a body of you. And that gives you presence and radiance. So presence and radiance are what come from being your beings. And contribution and genius. All of that comes from being your being. So we got several artists on the call. Is Fleur still with us? Oh, I think we lost Fleur. But Fleur was with us, and Joe's an artist, and there may be others of you that are artists as well. And if you notice when you're doing art, you're probably flowing your being. You know, when whether that's writing, whether that's painting, whether that's, dancing, singing, you're more of your being when you're flowing genius through you. When you're being your person, the genius is slightly stifled. Because the thoughts, the brain will get in the way. And that's only just learned stuff. It's not real stuff. It's just learned thoughts that limit the expression of the unique genius of us. So being your being allows much more expression and flow and creativity and innovation of your genius at the same time. Cool, huh? Okay, so now we're going to try another piece. So the third thing I would say about embodying your being is do greater work. Beings don't want to hang around just to clean bathrooms. They want to do great stuff. They want to be here for purpose, for contribution, for meaningfulness. And so do great stuff and do that great stuff from your joy, from what you love. I'm not talking about, oh, take on a big vision to go change the world and it becomes heavy and weighty and it consumes your life. And I'm talking about doing what you are absolutely loving doing and are here to do, that what you're called for. And when you do what you're here and what you're called for, then your being becomes even more present. Okay, so in this go round, we're gonna, each of us, do the greater work we're here for. Now, that could be anything. It might be connecting with the animals of the world. It might be elevating the oceans and the intelligence of nature. It might be something to do with the universe. It might be humanity, whatever. Whatever is yours that you're called to do, and you'll know because it excites you, it's passionate, it's something you love. So I want each of us to do the bigger work that we're here to do. Okay, here we go. Okay, now stay right there, but now let us unite all the greater works we're doing into one big collective movement for the world and universe. We don't have to know what it is. Let's just intend it and see what happens, okay? Okay. Whoa, was that ever powerful? Can you see now, if you asked yourself now, how much of my being is present, you probably get close to 100%. Because you're here, you're doing the work, you're doing you're bringing through the powerful movement that wants to happen for all life to thrive. And we're almost sourcing a breakthrough of some kind collectively. And one of the things I will say about that, and I'll ask everybody if you want to share in a minute, but one of the things I want to say about that is when we work collectively like this, each one a unique, awesome, incredible being with their own orientation and their own passions, visions, contributions, something magnificent happens. We become a collective force that is enormously beautiful and powerful and wondrous. It brings tears to my eyes when we do stuff like this. And there's no, oh, you have to do it this way, or you have to follow this set of instructions, or there's none of that. Because each one is a unique, powerful, masterful being here to bring something awesome to the world. And then when we fit all that together, it's like, boom, it becomes something even more extraordinary. And I think that's what we just experienced as we were doing that. So anybody want to share, how was that for you as you did your own work, then we did the collective work? Anybody want to share how that was? Yeah, Lena. Oh, you're on mute, Lena.
Yeah,
Right.
there, now I'm on.
Yeah.
It was weird because I kind of saw what I was doing, and then I saw the globe, and it was like violet blue jumps from country to country, place to place, with energy popping all around. But I'm not 100% sure what I did.
That's okay.
If it was something, a creation, or I don't know what it was, but something I started in some way or form that was jumping all around the world, from, like you see those maps with a globe, and it's kind of like arches from place to place. And
Yeah.
it was very emotional.
Yes.
I just had to figure out what I was doing.
Yeah. Well, it actually, it'll come. You
Yeah,
don't
I
have to
think I
know
have an
what you,
idea,
yeah,
but that idea could not really jump that way. So I don't know.
yeah, because if you try to figure it out what you're going to do before you do it, you've limited it.
Yeah.
If you just let yourself spontaneously become it and then follow the flows of the power and the forces and the mastery that moves through you, then we do extraordinary things and we figure it out afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, and some of us have more of a skill for that. Some of us might see it, some of them might hear it, some of them might get stories, some of us might paint it or dance it, or, you know, we all have different ways of expressing that. One of my talents is seeing what we're doing collectively.
Yeah.
So I can then begin to explain it and give it a bit of understanding, but we all get it in different ways, and it will come afterwards, even if sometimes you're taking a shower or you're laying in bed and this thought rushes through you, you go, oh, there it is. Like it just appears to you, this conscious understanding, this vaster sense of intelligence that works through us. So yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to share what happened? Yeah, Kelly.
Sorry, I think I'm getting picked up a cough or something. I saw the United Nations building, but it was like shimmering, like becoming in physical form ephemeral, like flickering in and out, and then it kind of was basically disappearing. And then in its place, a big shaft of light, beam of light that then was showering light all over the world, and every little spark of light that hit somewhere else in the world made another spark, like little sparkles just proliferated all over the planet. And then when you said to change to look at I don't know what you said now, Slayer, I can't even remember, but when you said that, it went from more less like a shaft of light to a circular, like a image of a pebble in a pond, so the rippling out,
Yeah.
like some big expansion, and then it all came back in and was still and somehow like different.
Amazing. Do you mind if I say a little bit about your background to that?
Sure.
You're
sure.
okay with that? So
Yeah, yeah.
Kelly just left the United Nations after 25 years as a strategic director. So she's been very involved in even the whole creating of a lot of it. And she now has a passion to, I don't know how you'd say it. It's more than bring peace to the world, but it's take us into a whole new place as a united world, right? Am I saying that accurately? So her getting that vision is her work, her literal work unfolding in the bigger picture coming into play, which you've been waiting for the last 4 or 5 months. That's really awesome. I love it. It's so big, it's so powerful that to do it in a collective like this really helps. Because if your being is here to do a whopper big piece, which we all are doing in our own ways, whatever that is, then to do it with a collective who can do it energetically first and in consciousness first makes it much easier to get it to happen in the physical, to come through. So that was a good example. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, I love it. Anybody else want to share what happened when you were doing that?
I always knew that I was here to plant seeds in people, raise their consciousness, open them. I did that in coaching sessions, one-on-one, and sometimes groups. When I stopped doing this, when I came from Europe to the United States, I stopped coaching on this level, and I was looking for a bigger purpose until I found this group, Solara, and I realized I could do this on a bigger level. That's what I just did with the group. So I was literally seeing myself as a farmer, like having all these seeds in some kind of, I don't know what it was, like when you feed a chicken and you throw the seeds on the ground. I was in the skirt, I was doing that to the world. My bigger me, my bigger self was, that field was becoming so big, and
Yeah.
I was like throwing all the seeds into the world, into the consciousness of the people.
Wow.
And then suddenly it went through the earth, and the earth became glowing, and it was whispering to all of us, I love you. And the whisper was so sweet. I love you, I love you, I love you. And that was for all of us.
Oh, Marina, that's so beautiful. I love it.
It was beautiful. Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Can I
Yeah.
say something?
Yeah, Joe, go for it.
Hi. I've had a bit of a revelation here. I have got so many big picture things going on. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a witch, so I'm talking about the natural world and the connection to the natural world. And I feel sometimes like they're quite separate parts of me. And but my true self, my massive aim in this lifetime is to bring animal sentience to the fore, to all of the world, so people know that they're aware beings. I know that, I talk about it, and oh, it's such a big story for me, but I've just had this revelation that actually in all of the ways that I express and show myself in the world, I am actually always working towards that. They're not actually as separate as sometimes they feel. And all the different strands of me actually can come together. And I do think I need to work a little around this, is to be slightly more woven together with all my different strands. I'm super creative. And but yeah, I can see a little bit more clearly now that my aim to raise awareness of animal sentience, I have many ways of bringing that in, and that's what came to me just now. So thank you.
Oh,
I do
that's
feel
amazing.
a bit. Yeah.
How many others on this call have an interest or passion for animal sentience? Stick up your hand. Yeah, look at that, Joe. Isn't that wonderful? So just for fun, can we just line up with Joe as a focal point for all animal and nature intelligence sentience to be understood and to grow and thrive and evolve and along with everything else? Okay, so Joe, we're going to make you the center point. We're going to do that piece of work with you. Okay. All right, here we go. I love it. Adonis puts his nose right in the camera.
Yeah, right now.
That's so beautiful. Oh, it's Pharaoh this time. Oh, hi, Pharaoh. Beautiful. Look at that. That was amazing, Joe. How was it for you?
It was beautiful. I'm full of tears. I'm full of emotion. I feel
Yeah, me
a
too.
bit proud to have brought this to the table, and I could see this wave literally coming from a circle of us, just going all around the entire planet, like a magic field of knowing
Yes.
and
Yeah.
lifting and lifting. It's a big thing to realize, and for many people, it will be a difficult thing to realize. And so it needs a lot of energy to bring that.
Brilliant. You're the perfect right person to do it. And we work on some of that. Sometimes we include all of the life forms, whales, dolphins, trees, mycelium, forests, and oceans, all of it, and do all kinds. So you could feel it all come in
They're
this
speaking to us
gloriousness.
all the time.
Yeah.
And people just don't know how to listen and to hear it.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah.
It
Brilliant.
is.
I can't wait to see how that unfolds more for you. That's brilliant. Yeah. Was somebody else gonna share? Somebody else had their hand up, I think, about what we just did. Maybe.
Well,
Okay.
I can share. I thought it was because I'm not really familiar with doing this sort of work, but I tend to feel and see colours. But it was as if like there was this satisfaction, and then the door sort of burst open, and all this light rushed in. It was, well, it doesn't make sense to the logical mind, does it? But it
Yeah.
felt beautiful.
Yeah. Amazing. I love it. Well, so we've been talking about embodying your being. Can you see how you feel more of your being now with the things we've done? So, you call it present, you do the great bigger work, you let your self flow, you expand it into a field of presence, a radiance of you, and then witness it. We talked about witnessing it in other people, and then you become more of yours, and then doing the big collective work together as well. And it all sets us to become more and more of who we are. So I'm going to talk about, so we talked about the embodying part. The elevating part is probably fairly self-explanatory. You're elevating yourself. You're rising in levels of being. So I'll just talk about that briefly, and then we'll talk about evolving it. So there is a lot of people talk about, like, there's your person, and then some people talk about a higher self, as well as what I call a deep core self. Some people might call that a soul, or there could be different terms for how we describe what's inner and outer and all that. But then I see it going like greater being, universal being, infinite being, source being, and there's probably many other versions of that. And we're becoming now a new version of being. And one of the things that's happening with us is that people like us, who are, this is what I wrote about in the grand becoming, the second little piece that I did in the flip page booklets. We're becoming something perhaps even new as a possibility for how beings can occur. So if you think in the spiritual sense, if you think, people think of beings as having many lifetimes, and you have a soul, and you're here for purpose, and your being has wisdom, and you bring it in. Well, we're talking about maybe all of life wants to up level, to evolve all the possibility of all beingness, all intelligence, all possibility of how we can occur. And at the moment, I use the term as alchemical source creators, or as source creators, or as source beings. That's the top of my list at the moment, but I'm sure it's not the top of the list. It's just where I just happen to be looking at the moment, And it doesn't mean that that's everybody's goal either. We might all have different adventures, different journeys, different terms for it, which is great. But I think we're being called to become something that our beings have never been before. And maybe they have. So in some people's journeys of becoming who they've always been, they're journeying through a pathway of, yes, I was this, yes, I was this, yeah. And so they're bringing in facets of themselves. Whereas other people like myself, I'm on an adventure of, I'm discovering things I've never, ever, ever been before. And and there's many different versions of that. So I want to just talk briefly about shifts of being and how they occur, because I think it's important. So just a sec. I just want to pull something up here as I want to share something with you so I can talk about these. Let me just get them up. There it is. Okay. I'm going to put the shared screens on so you can see this. So hang on while I find shared screens. There it is. Share screens. Okay. Can you all see that? Yeah. Alrighty. So here are some of the ways I have experienced people evolving their being or growing into their being. So first of all, some people have an epiphany that kickstarts it all. That was me, and Marina is another one of those. So some of you might have had, and an epiphany is a moment in time where I think the universe comes and powers through you, and suddenly you have an experience of something far, far beyond the human experience. And you can't go back to normal quite afterwards, because it's so profound that it alters everything you are and everything you're going to become. So that's one pathway and how it can start. It's not necessarily for everybody. A second way is a death, rebirth, transformation. So you have your being, and then your being goes, and a new part of you, or a next level part of you, comes in. So you've done a death, rebirth. And probably a lot of you have been through some of that, or some version of that. And when you go through a death, rebirth, what happens is there's nobody home on the death side of it. Like, your being isn't there, therefore you have no life force. you're exhausted, you're tired. You might even, people might diagnose it as things like oh, depression or some sort of illness, but it isn't. It's that there's no being present. And then when the rebirth kicks in, when the new being or the next level of your being comes in, boom, like overnight, you're full of tons of energy. You've got great ideas. You've got excitement. You've got passion. So if you look at it from a state of being, then you can move through that faster and easier. The next one is an ever increasing embodiment of the greater and infinite being. Now, they happen in downloads. So you've probably all had downloads of some sort over the course of at least the last 20, 30 years, if not more than that. And for me, when a download happens, it's like, like it might be a new level of superpower. It might be a part of my being that hasn't been able to be here before. It might be a whole new facet of possibility for beingness. But it's like you grow into more of it, you grow into more of it, you grow into more of it. So more and more and more, you're adding to the wholeness of your being able to be present here. Okay, number 4, becoming something brand new. That's what happened to me. I was gone and I was brand new. And I think that's really exciting, actually. It wasn't exciting at the time, I have to say. It took me a while to move through it. But I became like a clean slate. I could create myself as anything I wanted to be with no attachment to anything of who I was or my identity or the past or any of it. It just all disappeared. I mean, I have all the memories and stuff, but I became something brand new. So I could become a living possibility. And I became a creator, Centauri. Thank God, one day when I was in the midst of, I think I'm going crazy. This was like 25 years ago. Centauri pulled the car over and we stood at this field and he said, we'll just create ourselves. We'll just make ourselves up as anything we want to be. And that was the beginning of this journey for us. So really powerful. The next one is a surrender of self to recreate yourself. So as long as we're attached to identity, to who we think we are and how we think we are, it's hard to become something more because we have a kind of set construct of who we think we are. So when you let go of who you think you are and you surrender the identity, a lot of people would think, oh, that would leave me identityless. That would leave me where I don't know who I am or I'm lost. But actually the opposite happens when you surrender self and identity. Because when you surrender self, all this amazingness rushes in to allow you to become something more. Perhaps something more that you've always been, perhaps something new that you've never been before. So the surrender and the letting go is a key part of it. And I would say the way to be in that is to be excited, curious, and adventuresome about life and who you are as a being. And when that happens, you move through those states really easily. Okay, 2 more to go that I'm aware of. There's probably many more. So some people are becoming one with the universe, the oceans, the earth, nature, etc. So it's like me, I have a relationship with the universe, but I'm also becoming the universe. I have space for that. And I'll bet a number of you would be doing that as well. And when you become one with it, it might be permanent, or it might just be a part of a piece of work you're doing. And then the next time you become something else, you can see that. That's another pathway. And the last one that I'm aware of is the embodiment of God's source energy and consciousness into your unique physical form and expression. And that's a whopper one. That's a biggie. So there you go. Those are some of the pathways I've seen of how people are going through bringing their beings into presence in life and elevating and evolving them. Now, let's just for fun, How many of you have been through at least one of what I just described? Yeah, pretty much everybody. How many of you been through 3 or more? Yeah, see? And we might even go through every single one at different times. There's no fixed process to this because we're becoming source creators. Therefore, it's like we become the creators of the possibility of beingness, and of the possibility of life on planet Earth and in the universe. Now that's exciting to me. That's a reason to get out of bed in the morning, to me, is that, you know? And so I brought all those up because I know at least 3 people at the moment who are going through whopper ones, and with some degree of challenge attached to it, because it's so big and it's so massive, and it can be like that. And that's what inspired those 3 people, inspired me to write those little books and to do this call, because when you can understand that's what's going on, you can be a source creator of your own becoming, but set in the context of our collective becoming. Okay. Whew, that's a lot of talking. So anybody want to share anything or ask anything about all of that we just covered? Oh, yeah. Beautiful, Judy. Yeah.
I think it's just also fascinating because I watch, my conscious human mind wanting to like understand, right? And I really believe that I'm, part of my work is to witness others, beings. Like I had this vision of, presenting this video to a handful of people who have never done this work or, heard this language, and just see what happens. Like, how does this land for you? I want to be a bridge for this expansion, this, entree into this world of living and walking as your greater being, and evolving the being, and having it be this synergistic, alchemical way. Because as soon as we united all of our greater work, oh my gosh, it was just, like you said, we just synced up, and there was this like hum in my physical body here that was just like, oh, that's what I want my morning coffee to feel. I don't even drink coffee, but that's what I want to, every day to feel like.
Yeah.
It was just magnificent.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I know this isn't for everybody. There's a lot of people who go, is this woman insane? And I'm okay with that. I get a little bit more wilder all the time, as you will have all noticed from some of my recent posts. I just swing out there more all the time because it's time, and it doesn't have to be forced on anyone, because, hey, Judy, we're all doing it in our own ways. Everybody is. Every single being on the planet is going through this becoming. And we've all got our own orientations, our own processes, our own uniqueness to bring to the thing. That's why you can't say, oh, do this, this, and this. It's not like that. It has to be generated from each of us as a natural, spontaneous, powerful mastery that is both within us and is the universe informing each of us as to how we do it. So I don't want to be process oriented, and I don't necessarily need to be for everybody, but I definitely want to be with and for all of you who are leading the way in this becoming, as we get more maestroing, more creative, more sourcing, more collective, all of that. So, oh, Madeline, I love it. Madeline, if you can put your video on, we would love to see your unicorn headdress. Madeline's in Glastonbury, everybody. So, and Judy's in Canada. And we've got, but I've never got to say, but we've got people in France and Sweden and Norway and the US and Canada and the UK on this call. I think that's everybody. So there you go. So yeah. Interesting. Yeah, thanks, Christine. That's wonderful. Okay, anybody else want to share? No? Okay. Yeah, Kathy.
I just want to say thank you, Slara.
Thanks.
It's quite enlightening. I'm getting used to the language. You teach you're I'm quite amazed by your joy. When you asked us to tune in to somebody, I picked you.
Oh.
And I was just bubbling with all this joy. It was everywhere. And that surprised me. But I want to follow in your footsteps. I come from, what the heck am I doing here? This is an awful place. What is going on? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I get that. And
I think sorry, go on.
I've been saying recently, measure everything by joy.
Yeah.
I get into bed at night, I'm just like bubbling over with the wonder of my life and the wonder of this world. And I do know there are awful things going on for sure. But I find as a source creator, the more I am for what we're becoming, the more it moves gracefully in that direction.
Life feels easier. I've been bogged down with the task of feeling I have to do something to make it better. But I realized that it was okay all the time. Just suppose I was coming from a place of fear and strain and not understanding. So you've been a big part in my coming out, and I hope on, when is it, Thursday, we get to move a bit more.
Kathy's coming over for a visit on Thursday. So she lives close to me, which is wonderful. Yeah. But you know, all of the people on this call, you've probably been up to this your whole lives from the moment you were born. You know, me, it didn't hit me until I was about 46, I think it was, before I really discovered this whole path. And one of the things that was good about that was, because if you're born with it, it's hard to explain it. But if you come into it and you see the difference, it's easier to explain the nuances of it. So it was kind of one of my gifts of coming into it late, you know, so exciting. So, okay, we're just right on the hour. So let's just line all up, and whatever there is to do for your own beingness, for the elevation and evolving of all beingness, for whatever the greater work is that wants to happen from us being together, let's do that now. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh my God, that was so powerful. I actually heard celestial choirs singing Hallelujah. Almost like a pop rock concert. It was,
How lovely. I got the Beatles singing Love, Love, Love. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's so much joy in it. It's incredible, isn't it? But there's also so much beauty, so much energy, so much power, so much flow, so much connection, so much intelligence. It just all comes streaming in when you do this kind of work. And your being has the opportunity to not only be here and be radiant and be present, but to do the work it's meant to do. Exciting, huh? I love
Yes.
it. Oh, thank you all for being part of it. I've loved every second of doing this with you. I hope you have too. So, okay, mwah. Have a great one. Bye,
See you
everybody.
Thursday. Bye, everyone.